Welcome, Queens! Today we are re-diving into the story of Esther, one of the most powerful stories of courage and divine purpose in the Bible. From an orphan Jewish girl to the queen who saved her entire nation, Esther's journey shows how ordinary people can fulfill extraordinary purposes. Her story continues to inspire millions facing complex challenges. Let's uncover how her ancient story speaks powerfully to our modern world. Our story begins not with Esther, but with another queen, Vashti. King Xerxes ruled 127 provinces from India to Ethiopia. During a lavish 6-month celebration, the wine-influenced king commanded Queen Vashti to appear wearing her royal crown to display her beauty. Vashti refused. Enraged and embarrassed, the king removed her as queen, creating the vacancy Esther would eventually fill. This moment, whether cultural clash or royal protocol, positioned Esther to be in the right place at God's appointed time. After his anger subsided, the king's attendants suggested gathering beautiful young virgins from throughout the empire to choose a new queen. Enter Hadassah, a Jewish orphan raised by her cousin Mordecai, also known as Esther, meaning star. Following Mordecai's advice, Esther kept her Jewish identity secret. When her turn came before the king after a year of beauty treatments, she won his favor with her genuine character. The king loved Esther more than all other women and crowned her queen. Shortly after Esther's coronation, Mordecai uncovered a plot to assassinate the king. He reported it through Esther, saving the king's life. This deed was recorded in the royal chronicles but temporarily went unrewarded, a seemingly small detail that would later prove crucial. Esther's story teaches us that even when life takes unexpected turns, we can walk forward with grace and authenticity, allowing our genuine character to shine. King Xerxes promoted a nobleman named Haman above all others, commanding everyone to bow before him. Mordecai, as a devout Jew who would kneel only before God, refused. When questioned, Mordecai revealed his Jewish identity. Enraged by this defiance, Haman determined not just to punish Mordecai, but to destroy all Jews throughout the empire, showing how quickly personal resentment can escalate to systemic oppression. Haman approached the king with a proposal: there is a certain people scattered throughout your kingdom whose laws are different. It is not in the king's interest to tolerate them. Without naming the Jews specifically, Haman offered payment for their destruction. The king, without investigation, gave Haman his signet ring, saying, "The money and the people are given to you, to do as you please." Royal scribes prepared edicts ordering the annihilation of all Jews on a single day. This challenges us to be vigilant against injustice and question narratives that dehumanize others. When Mordecai learned of the decree, he tore his clothes, put on sackcloth and ashes, and went through the city wailing bitterly. Through a messenger, he sent Esther a copy of the decree and urged her to approach the king. Esther explained the deadly protocol: anyone approaching the king without being summoned faced execution unless he extended his golden scepter. Mordecai's response became the pivot point of the entire story: do not think you will escape in the palace any more than all other Jews. For if you remain silent now, relief will arise from elsewhere, but you and your father's house will perish. Yet who knows whether you have come to the kingdom for such a time as this? Esther's reply revealed her transformation from passive participant to active leader: gather all the Jews in Shushan to fast for me for 3 days, night and day. My maids and I will fast likewise. And so I will go to the king, though it is against the law, and if I perish, I perish. This pivotal moment teaches us powerful lessons: silence is not neutrality. Your position has purpose. Community support matters. And courage doesn't mean fearlessness. If I perish, acknowledges the risk while choosing to act despite it. After 3 days of fasting, Esther prepared herself royally and entered the king's inner court uninvited, a moment of breathtaking risk. To her relief, the king extended his golden scepter. Rather than immediately presenting her petition, Esther invited the king and Haman to a banquet she had prepared. At this first banquet, when asked her request, Esther invited them to a second banquet the following day. She demonstrates remarkable strategic wisdom, creating the right environment, building anticipation, and observing timing for optimal conditions. Haman left the banquet elated at his exclusive invitation. But his joy turned to rage when he again saw Mordecai refusing to bow at the king's gate. At his wife's suggestion, Haman built gallows 75 feet high, planning to ask the king's permission to hang Mordecai the next morning. His hatred and pride would soon become instruments of his own destruction, illustrating how those who dig pits for others often fall into them themselves. That night, the king couldn't sleep. To pass the time, he had the royal chronicles read to him and discovered Mordecai had never been rewarded for exposing the assassination plot. When morning came, Haman entered the court, eager to request Mordecai's execution. The king asked him, what should be done for the man the king delights to honor? Assuming the king meant to honor him, Haman suggested an elaborate public ceremony. To his horror, the king ordered, do exactly as you suggested, for Mordecai the Jew. So Haman himself had to lead his enemy through the streets in royal honor. At Esther's second banquet, the king again asked for her petition. This time, she revealed her purpose. If I have found favor in your sight, O king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. For we have been sold, my people and I, to be destroyed. The stunned king demanded to know who was responsible. Esther's finger pointed directly at her other guest. The adversary and enemy is this wicked Haman. Her moment of bold truth-speaking shows there comes a time when we must name injustice directly and use our voice with precision and courage. The king, enraged, stormed into the palace garden. Haman fell across Esther's couch to beg for mercy. When the king returned and saw this, he interpreted Haman's posture as an assault on the queen. Learning of the gallows Haman had built for Mordecai, the king ordered, hang him on it. That same day, the king gave Queen Esther Haman's estate and elevated Mordecai, giving him the signet ring reclaimed from Haman. But a grave problem remained. The edict ordering the destruction of the Jews still stood. According to Persian law, once a decree was sealed with the king's ring, it could not be revoked. Esther pleaded for the king to avert the disaster. Mordecai drafted a new edict giving Jews in every city the right to defend themselves against any who would attack them. The decree was dispatched throughout the empire's 127 provinces. The Jews had light and gladness, joy and honor. This teaches us that even when we can't change what has happened, we may find ways to write a second decree that creates new possibilities within our constraints. When the fateful day arrived, the Jews successfully defended themselves. Mordecai established an annual celebration called Purim to commemorate how their sorrow was turned to joy. The book concludes with Mordecai's promotion to second in rank as he worked for the welfare of his people. Esther's story offers us profound wisdom. You are where you are for a purpose. Embracing your true identity is essential to fulfilling your calling. Timing matters. There are moments when yesterday was too soon and tomorrow will be too late. And our greatest fulfillment comes when we risk our comfort for others' well-being. Where might God have positioned you for such a time as this? What unique influence do you have in your sphere? Remember, like Esther, your life story is still being written. The chapters of greatest impact may be just ahead as you step into your purpose with courage and faith.